This is Unit 4 Review Part 2, so we're going to go over 4 more questions that you will be seeing on your Unit 4 test whenever you take it. Make sure you're writing down all the helpful hints, and so you can complete your assignment and do well on your test. Now this first example, go ahead and write number 1. You're not going to write, I want you to kind of you're not going to be able to draw this graph perfectly, but I want you to notice a couple of things. First of all, we have a graph and there's 2 lines on them and those 2 lines intersect, okay? I'm not asking you to draw this, but you are going to see this on your test. The question says, what is the approximate cost and miles for when the 2 companies charge the same amount? And then you have a graph. You'll have a graph just like this on your test, and here's what I need you to know. So even though you're not drawing this, I basically put where lines cross is the example. Okay, so how you answer this question is basically the answer. So I'd write this down. Answer is where the 2 lines cross. It's very simple. The answer is where the 2 lines cross. But you need to be careful. Make sure you answer the question, because the question may ask you for one thing and you give it the other. The most common missed way that people get this answer wrong is they don't answer the correct question. Okay, so here it's asking for the cost and the miles, and yet again you're not drawing this, but this right here says C, so this is cost and this is miles. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a dot at about where these 2 lines meet. Yet again, you're not doing this, you're just watching. They meet about there, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw lines to X and Y axis. Okay, I'm going to draw the lines to the X and Y axis. So I'm going to go ahead and do a dot line so you can kind of see going down to the X axis that way. And then a dot line going to the Y axis as best as possible. Okay? So on some questions it's going to ask for the cost or it's going to ask for the miles. This one it's asking for both. So the cost, well that's right here. So that line approximately, I'm looking here, this thing counts by 5s, like 50, 55, 60, and it's like halfway between 50 and 55-ish, maybe a little bit less. So I'm going to go ahead and go with 52. So I'm going to say $52. Now let's say you picked 51. As long as you're in a good range, they're going to accept it. It's fine. However, if I put 60, that's way too high. So, I mean, if you're in a good range, you're fine. If you're way off, then it's going to be counted off. Okay? So, it costs $52. And if I go down to the miles, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going down here. And the scale here is counting by 10s. 60, 70, 80. I know it's hard for you to see on the camera. And it's pretty close to 70, but not quite there. So, I might say 68. So, I'm going to put and 68 miles. Okay, yet again, if let's say you said 67, you would still be correct. We're not going to count you wrong. It's fine. You're close enough. Okay, so all you're doing is you're finding where things cross, going to the cost, and going to the miles, and figuring it all out. Okay, very, very simple question. Just be very, very careful that you answer the question they ask. And on the test, if you don't know what they're asking for, then give them both. Okay, easy peasy. This next one I actually need you to write down. You might not write down every word of it, but you do need to write it down. I'm going to be kind of out and I'll read it to you. The distance a bike travels varies directly with the time they spend biking. And these words, varies directly, are very important. If I can bike 17.5 miles in 3.5 hours, how long would it take to go 35 miles? Go ahead and hit pause right now so you can write down the problem. This is number 2, by the way. If you're here right now, I've assumed you've already paused and you've written down the problem. Okay? When you're solving, there's actually a couple different ways you could do this, but the number 1 easy way to do it is to make a proportion, which you are used to making from middle school, a proportion. So the first thing it says is he can bike 17.5 miles in 3.5 hours. So 17.5 miles. Actually, go ahead and write MI for miles so you know. Over 3.5 hours. Okay? And then we're going to make another proportion, so I'm going to draw a line here. How long would it take to go 35 miles? So So this is miles. So am I going to put it on top or on bottom? And you should say on top because this is miles, this is miles. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and put 35 miles. And then you need to put like a question mark or an X. Like we don't know how many hours. Okay? And to solve this, if you remember from middle school, is cross multiply, and divide. Okay? If you remember. So you multiply, I can't multiply these two because they're not numbers, but I can multiply these two because they're numbers. So I'm going to multiply this and then divide by 17.5. So 3.5 times 35. Yet again, my calculator might be hard to see, but 3.5 times 35 is hard to see, 122.5. And then you divide it by the other number, which is 17.5. This should be familiar from middle school. If it's not, call me over. I'll explain it. And you get 7. However, if you just write 7, I'm not going to take it. 7 what? 7 rainbows, 7 kittens? And you're going to say no. If he's biking for that, it would take 7 hours. So I would put, it would take 7 hours. And then it's done. Okay? That's not an H, by the way. That's like it. Alright? It would take 7 hours. Bam. Easy question you should have done on your test. It says a proportion from middle school. I do need you to write this down. So real quick, the word problem is Megan charges a base fee of $10 and then $10 for every 100 feet of carpet she installs. Pause right now. Write that down. Okay? I'm assuming it's already been written down. The first thing is to write the equation. Okay? And on the side, if you want to, we're going to be writing y equals equations. Okay? So right here, we're going to put y equals. And Megan, no matter what, charges $10. Base fee of $10. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10 right here. $10, okay? And then on top of that, I'm going to put plus, and here's where it's a little different. $10 for every 100 feet. So how you write that is $10 over for every 100 feet. And then you're going to put an X here. Because $10 for every 100 feet. Alright, now this is almost correct. We have to do one thing to this. And all we have to do here is we have to reduce if possible, which we can. Alright, so I'm going to rewrite this equation. Y equals 10 plus. But I'm going to see if I can reduce 10 over 100. So on my calculator, yet again, you might not be able to see very well. 10 divided by 100 is 0.1. So you could put 0.1x or math enter is 1/10. So I'm going to put plus 1/10 x. So this is really what you're looking for here because it is reduced. So make sure you reduce, okay? Here are the questions they're going to be asking you on your exam, so we need to go over these very carefully. The next one, make sure you write it down, is what is the y-intercept and what does it mean? If you give me the y-intercept but you don't explain what it means, on the C-scope test you get it wrong. You have to explain. So right here, the y-intercept you could tell me is $10, right? So the y-intercept is $10. And what does that $10 mean? Well, if you look up here, it means the base fee, okay? The initial amount, how much they charge. So I'm going to put, it is the base fee. Comes straight from the word problem, no worries, easy peasy, right? Okay? What is the slope? We should easily be able to say the slope is 1/10 because, you know, slope is a number with x. Now, what does it represent is a little harder. Remember, this was $10 for every 100 feet. So this is dollars and this is feet. So this is still dollars and this is feet. Okay? It means that it's $1 for every 10 feet. Okay? So slope is 1/10 and it means they charge $1 for every 10 feet. 10 feet. Okay? This part is easy. The numbers, the actual explanation, it tends to be harder for kids, but there you go. It's pretty much going to look exactly like that on your test. A little bit different, but that's pretty much it. And last but not least is something that you pretty much know how to do. And here, I need to write this down. Create a table of values for the following equation. 2x plus 3y equals 15. And then here's a table. go ahead and real quick, copy that down, and then also copy down this table exactly as it looks. So pause, copy that down. Okay? If you're here so far, I'm assuming it's already copied down. The steps for this are easy. You're going to solve for y, which you already know how to do. You're going to put it in y equals. And all you're going to do is go to the table. This question on your test is multiple choice. It should be very easy and easy get for you, but let's just go over it anyway. Okay? So my equation, the first thing I'm going to do is solve for y. So my equation is 2x plus 3y equals 15. Excuse my phone. So your y, 3 is your best friend. We're going to subtract 2x. We've been doing this for a very long time. Positive 3y comes down. Are these the same or are they different? And hopefully you say, hey, those are different. So we're going to put it negative 2x plus 15. Could you do 15 minus 2x? Of course you could. It doesn't matter. And then we divide by 3. Negative 2 divided by 3 in your calculator is a decimal, but I don't like those, so math, enter, and you just get negative 2/3. And then 15 divided by 3 is just 5. Okay? So, we're going to go to y equals in my calculator and type it in. Negative 2/3 x plus 5. And remember to go to the table, you go to second graph. So second graph. Okay? And then you're just going to fill in this table. So I'm going to go up to negative 4. And I'm going to get this 7.66 something. Okay? I'm just going to put 7.6. Alright, then at negative 2, I got 6 point, it's hard to see, you should have it in your calculator. It says 6.33333, so I'm just going to put 6.3. At 0, it is 5. Yet again, your calculator should be much easier to see than mine. At 2 is 3.6666, so I'm just going to put 3.6, or you could put 3.7, it doesn't matter. And number 4 is 2.33333. So 2.3. Okay? Now, on your test, this is multiple choice. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be crossing off the ones that don't match. On your test, you're also going to see fractions. Excuse my phone again. You're going to see fractions, and hang on one second. Let me get my table again real quick, sorry. So for example, let's say this is multiple choice. Like this is option A. And instead of like 7.6, they had like 13 over 2. And you're like, well, I don't know if that matches. All you would do would be divide that. So for example, 13 divided by 2. And is that 7.6? And that's, no, that's not what that is. So it's wrong. So pretty simple. All you're doing on your assignment today is filling it in. On your test, you're going to be matching and making sure the right answer is there. If you have questions, let me know.